Greetings and salutations, everybody. Welcome back to my channel. I know it's been a while. Thanks for tuning in, taking a few moments to listen to what I had to say in my babblings and all that kind of good stuff. I hope everyone is doing well and hope the spring has started out pretty good for you guys. It's been cool here, but that's a good thing. Hope it's going to be a nice summer. Onward to some stuff I picked up. It's going to be, it might be a little long video, but hopefully it'll be worth everyone's while, so to speak. One of the things I would like to touch on is some other YouTubers. Not a rant, nothing, nothing. I'm going to go off on anything like that. But Howler Mouse, our buddy Tim, um, did a video about him looking back on his, was it 15 years on YouTube? And it made me think, and I wanted to call Tim and talk to him about it, but I don't think he'll mind me mentioning this. Um, he's one of the few of the YouTubers that I do watch of the comic book community, as we like to call it, that stays the same, that stayed true to himself, that did not change. And there's some other ones that are like that, like Captain Strange Life and Gratu, Shannon, and Rod, Dr. Silver Age, uh, you know, that when they shoot their videos, it's not edited. It's about what they like about comic books. I don't. Again, I'm including them because I don't want to exclude them. If I excluded anyone else, I should have mentioned, and I'm sorry. But there's a lot. There's a. I would just say a lot because that's the problem that I have with YouTube. There isn't a lot of people. I don't want to say like us because it sounds like I'm being, mean. If you don't think like me, you can't have a video. I'm not saying that at all. But back to Howler Mouse. He has all the ups and downs and everything going on within the YouTube. I try not to feed into it. There's been a couple of issues that I did, about another YouTuber, but I won't get into that right now. But back to him. I'm always off on his segues. My apologies. He's true to himself. He likes what he likes. He makes no apologies about it, and he shouldn't. No one should. You like what you like. You talk about it. You want other people to enjoy what you're enjoying. You want other people to, they may be missing out on a few things. Howler Mouse is a fine example where I'm not a big Legion fan, but we hung out together in Baltimore one year. I think it was 2016, and he turned me on to some Legion comics that were outstanding, and I really dug them. And a few other books that he got me into, something I wouldn't have done on my own if it wasn't for him. But he reminisced on his 15 years, and and I'm glad he never quit. I'm glad through the ups and downs and everything else, he was always there. He was one of the few people that got me to make videos. Night Tiger is another one. I can't forget. I can't forget about Mike. Um, that got me to do videos. Got me to do Instagram. I try to stay focused like they do. Don't try to let something get to me, but sometimes it does. Particularly on certain people, certain collectors who will hype about a comic book that they hope because it's in their collection will gain sparks because of they've got a big following. They got they have a large influence, and it's like, oh, I'm hoarding these books, or I'm collecting these books. Without saying it, they're saying you need to get these because I like them. You have to do this, and so maybe what they're saying will hype prices up. I don't know. I'm not in their minds, but to the few YouTubers that are out there that just talk about comics, that just, hey, this is cool, I like it. If you don't, that's fine. If you do, great. And Howler Mouse is like that. And I'm only bringing him up without mentioning the other ones because of his particular video. Again, like I said, there's Shannon, there's Rod, Captain Strange Life, um, Mike, uh, Higgy Pop, they don't care about condition. They like comic books for what they are, and that's the way it should be. Gratu, you know, um, he talks about comic books. He talks about pop culture, Captain Strange Life. All these folks that I like watching because of they're not trying to perpetuate something that doesn't exist only in their little world, like some other YouTube people hoping to get ultimate followers or the books will go up in value. But I appreciated, Tim Hallermouse, his video. I was hoping when I first saw it, it wasn't about, oh, he's going to quit or something's going to happen. I enjoy what he has to say. I enjoy when he comes on, along with the other ones I mentioned, and there's some other ones too that are far too many to sit here and mention. I'm already been on for 6 minutes here, and but I wanted to mention that. So thanks, Tim. Thanks for being the person that you are, that you enjoy comics for what they are, and you like them because you like them. You're not on any bandwagon. You're not following any trend. Like a lot of us older collectors really don't fall into that category, which is fine. You follow the trends, but this whole blind bag, battle beast, don't get me started on that. Not that you would, because we can't talk, but that is ridiculous. You know, uh, there's people out there acting like it's the end all and beat all of it. It's not collecting comics. It's not enjoying the art form at all. And like I said, the ones that I mentioned, Tim and the other ones, they enjoy the art form. They enjoy what it's about, and I appreciate that. And I hope things continue the way they are, with the ups and downs, and hopefully the ups more than there are downs here on YouTube, because it does take a lot to set up. I don't edit. The other guys I talked about don't edit, which is what I like. I don't like, I like shooting from the hip. You mess up, you mess up, you mispronounce something, you think you know something about something, and you misquote, you missay it. It's all par for the course. We're not experts. We wouldn't be doing this and sharing information and talking to each other if we were. Um, but I enjoy that. I enjoy shooting from the hip, and enjoying talking about comic books, and and Graphic Man. Forgot about Graphic Man. Sorry, Micah. Oh, see, I forget about all the people, and it pops into my head as I talk. But you know who you are. You know I love you. So if I if I forget you, and you're like, Steve, why did you forget me? I'm sorry, but I love you. You can put it in the comments, and we can talk about it in the comments if you like. With that being said, another thing that came up that I must discuss, at least talk about a little bit, is Butch Geist. We all know sadly he passed away, and it was one of the first times. I should say that it hit me harder when we lose creators. Um, but I've interacted with him a lot on Instagram, and again, Instagram, social media is what it is. I'm not sat there saying that we broke bread and we, exchange ideas and concepts. I'm not saying that at all. But on Instagram, I would post something, he would comment on it. He would teach us a lot, particularly about comic strips. He loved the comic strips. And he would talk about artists and strips I didn't even know about and what they did with the art. Coming from an artist perspective, you got a lot. much more appreciation of what they were. And I had sent him some. I went to an antique store and found old Sunday papers from the 50s, and I sent him the comic strips out of that. And we interacted, we talked, and everything else. And I realized, he went on Instagram for a while after, because his brother, they did a GoFundMe. I contributed to a GoFundMe for his brother. His brother was sick. Then his dad had passed away, and he put that on Instagram. And I haven't heard from him. I sent condolences, and I haven't heard from him. His presence wasn't seen on Instagram for a while, and I reached out. I said, I hope things are well. My prayers, and condolences, and if you need anything, we're here for you. That type of stuff where you want to let them know you're thinking about them. And his wife responded back to me saying that Butch is sick. He's in got out of intensive care, and he's in the hospital and things. He should be coming home. So I sent him a care package of some books on the history of comic strips. And the next day I got a word that he had passed away. It kind of hit me, more than others, because I grew up during that time frame, during his heyday. I should say grow up, but that was my time of really reading comics and appreciating the art. Back in 1974, you picked up a comic book, you looked in the inside, you see the name, and you start getting used to artists. But you don't have a connection to them yet to find out the history and what has to happen before a comic book is produced. The Ron Wilson and Keith Pollard and Bob Layton and Dick Dillon and Arvell Jones, and who else? We got George Perez, John Byrne. We can name a bunch of them during the 70s and the 80s. But that time frame where Butch came up, swords and swashbucklers. Uh, you know, you cannot get any better than that. And then you just saw his artwork throughout Marvel Fanfare and doing other books, and he was always there. And so it was great to interact with him, and I wasn't saying, oh, your artwork is the bee's knees, I think you're the greatest in the world. It wasn't anything like that. It was just this mutual discussion of the comics, the form, the art form, and just he taught me a lot. Things I didn't know about. And it was great. And I'm really sad to hear that he passed. He was only 63. I'm 59 this June. So we weren't too far apart. And it makes you wonder, of the time frame. We collect, we interact with people, and what's going to happen to everything at the end. I don't know. It was just sad. He'll be missed. Not that they're going to watch this video, but if his family or friends or fans or whoever, I deepest condolences. We lost a great one. He didn't do that many conventions, to my knowledge. I wish I was able to meet him, but I feel I met him and talked enough with him that I really felt like I knew him. He was a really nice guy, and for an artist of his caliber, I believe of his caliber, to interact with with the nobody, like myself, it says a lot, because you got to be careful on social media. People are out there, but once you get that relationship and that respect, what's going on. So it was a sad time. It still is. I still think about him, because I'll go on. When I go on Instagram, I'm on there quite a bit because I interact with a lot of people about comics and post and everything else. And I'll still see his icon, of him as a child. That was his icon on Instagram. And it just makes me sad. But anyway, you're here to see comic books. So one thing I want to show first is one of the I due to space, lacking space in my little microcosm of a room of comic books and records and whatnot. Figures are low on my list of buying because of running out of room. I've got boxes and boxes of action figures that are stored away because I do not have room for them. But I had to make an exception this time. People have posted and they've seen it, but it's Rom in all of his glory. He's a pretty darn cool figure. Uh, I hate to say it, but it's better than the one that came out uh, in the '70s because he just no bending of the legs, no bending of the arms. This is total articulation, as everyone knows. The um, the Marvel figures are like that. It's a Hasbro, of course, and let's see what he looks like, shall we? So he's pretty. He'll take up less real estate on my on one of my shelves. This is pretty hard to get undone here. Um, but yeah, I had the Bullet Man. I was more of a Bullet, and not knowing that Bullet Man was a Golden Age character, but it came out at the same time. He flew down on a zip line with these really weird hooks in his back that you would use it when you would fly rockets. Um, and this figure's really tough. That you'd fly zip line rockets if you were in Boy Scouts or something like that. You know what I'm talking about. That's how Bullet Man would fly. And I did have a Bullet Man. Um, and Rom is about as tough to get out. There we go. It's like a little rubber, made out of rubber of the comic book everyone had, I'm sure, growing up. And Rom is one of those titles. The logo was perfect. You'd see Rom a mile away on the newsstand. I loved Rom. It was a great comic book. Everybody thinks it's cheesy because it's based off a toy, you know. But Sal Buscema was a Bill Mantlo wrote the stories. Good old our pal Sal drew them, and they were great. It's great stuff. Look at that. See, fully posable. Pose ROM much better than you were able to back in the '70s when he first came out. Can't get him set here. Oh, here. There we go. Comes with, what is it? The neuralizer is what they call it. Numerous accessories. Another one. This has a blast for it. And there are two hands. Two extra hands. One of a fist. The Fist of Rom. Oh, that'd be a cool title. And one, another one to hold a weapon. There we go. We got Rom joining the comic book party. So, as it's called. One of the another things, some other stuff I got. Anyone who's paid attention to the artists and stuff that I like, there's a few, very few modern creators within the last 20, 30 years that I like or I do follow. And there's quite a few. I'm not saying that everything today stinks, because that's not the case. There are some talented individuals out there, and but anyone who's followed my channel knows I'm a big fan of Jim Calafiore, and he's doing Defenders of the Earth comic book series for Mad Cave, doing the covers and the interiors. I think he's even doing the inks. Great, I enjoy it. Who's a Dan DiDio? Yeah, is writing it. The story is fine. I like it. The art to me is the winner. Um, I support any endeavor creators that I like, or creators that are good. The light's hitting him. Creators that I like, or creators that are real good. There you go. That I do. I mean, like with anybody. But anyway, I'm getting, it's a 7-issue. Wait, how many issues? I think it's 12 issues. 12 or 8 issues. Um, it was weird what Mad Cave did. The first 6 issues, I think they did it 1 to 4. The first, it's an 8-issue series, because I'm gonna do a volume 2 of this. I've got Jim's working on issue 7 now. They did this trade paperback, which I had to buy. I bought the other issues, but I had to support Jim and stuff that they're doing. So hopefully they'll do more of this. This is a trade paperback of 1 to 4 of Defenders of the Earth. As you can see, the art is really good. Jim's doing this one. I showed it before. The Council of the Phantoms. And there's a covers area in here, the alternate covers and Jim's cover are in this, as well as the story. But they're going to do, so when the trade paperback came out, I thought it was done. I thought, oh man, this is going to end already. And I sent a DM to Jim Calafiore, and he said, no, I'm working on issue 7 now. 6 is done by Salvalito, if that's how you say his last name. Jim did the cover, but 7 and 8, I think Jim's doing both of them, if I'm not mistaken. But the I'm trying to find the Council of the Phantoms again, because it's pretty darn cool. It's in the Phantom Cave, and all the different phantoms are in there, and the different dress of each phantom. Yeah, it's kind of dark for my taste, because I like to see the more clear indication of what they're wearing in the different phantoms from over the years, the centuries. But Defenders of the Earth, it's very cool. Artwork is really good in it. So I read this again. I enjoyed it. It's cool to sit, and while we buy collections, because it's cool to sit there and read everything all together the way the storytelling would be, about. I like waiting for it. It's fun. When's the next issue going to come out? And I haven't felt that way about a comic book in a long time, about newer books. Anything by Jim or Bitterroot was another one I really enjoyed. And see what else. I'm trying to think of another recent book. The new Aquaman's really good, but I'm not clamoring for what's going to happen in the next issue like I am with Defenders of the Earth, because I want to see what Jim does. He does a skimp on backgrounds. He's very versatile on his camera angles, on his perspectives. He doesn't just sit there and say, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 panels, or 4 panels, 6 panels, and very static. It's angles, different perspectives. He's very good at that. If you follow him on Instagram, Jim Calafiore, he does morning warm-up sketches that are really good, because you don't know what you're going to get for the day. He'll add color, or he'll add, darker tones to them or whatever, but it's really good. And, his Ned, Lord of the Pit, highly recommended. The backgrounds, the dialogue, the artwork, it's so good. Be there or be square when it comes to stuff by him. Another thing I picked up was a book from when I first started reading comics that of me going out and saying I'm going to collect books was the New Gods, the Jerry Conway stuff, which is so good. I've got all these, but to have these in the collection, a nice hardback, it's so good. Let me take off the dust jacket. Look at this. Look how cool that is. I like the dust jacket more just because it just says with the logo of the New Gods. But you've got people like who else we have? I know Don Newton, yeah, Richard Buckler, Dick Dillon, Averell Jones, mentioned him earlier, George Perez, Mike Vosberg, um, uh, and you have Al Milgrom doing the covers on some of these. But it's just so good. It's just, it's well worth the money. These were fun comic books. These were comic books that one of the times that I remember, man, DC was like, to me, uh, I was buying DC at that point a little bit over Marvel because of books like this. Really good. I highly recommend this. People who watch my channel, I'm sure Shannon is shaking his head. Yep, that's the good stuff, Steve. I know that's what he's thinking if he sees this. So Shannon, if you are looking at the video, put in the comments. Yeah, I was right because I know I am. And I'm sure uh, Howler Mouse and Night Tiger are the same way in Captain Strange Life, but and Doctor Silver Age. This is the stuff we were chomping at the bit for, amongst other things, which I'm coming to now. Which this stuff I bought probably in the late '70s as a back issue for $1 a piece, and this is a nice collection too. Nice segue into the Tower of Shadows. This has everything but the H.P. Lovecraft stories in it. Um, the cover is great. It's matte. It's a matte finish, but then this is raised. You really can't, if you can tell or not, but it's a raised color, glossy, slick. It's really well put together. Of course, you've got everybody in here. You've got Ramita and Wrightson and who else we have? Who we have in here? Do we have Wrightson? I can't remember if Wrightson did anything in this particular one. I know he did. There was Tower of Shadows. Oh, I can't think of it at the top of my head. Again, here we are on the trying to forget things. We go blah. We know we have Steranko, Neil Adams, Jim Steranko, Barry Smith, Buscema, John, Wally Wood, Gene Coleman, Marie Seven, Bernie Ratchet. I was right. Stan Lee, Roy Thomas, John Romita, Johnny Craig, and Jerry Conway. We all who are my age, even maybe I know have these in a collection. So this is a great book to have on the shelf, to pull it out, to read it, check out these great stories, and it's really well done. It's matte paper. I call it matte paper. I don't know what the best way to call it. Heavy stock matte paper, not glossy, where it's not reflective. Unlike the New Gods book, I'm reading it and my reading light shines that glare on it. You get that beam of light right down the page. This was another purchase that obviously a purchase I made because I wouldn't have it, but a book that I picked up that I'm kind of disappointed in because it's more used than I would like, particularly when I paid almost cover price for it. You really can't see it, but it's kind of beat up on the dust jacket. I don't know why people read books with a dust jacket. I don't get it. The dust jacket, I know what it's there for. Initially, it was made to protect the book, but take the dust jacket off if you read something. But this is Jack Kirby's Galactic Bounty Hunters, which I did not know existed. Everything in there is fantastic. It's great stuff. It's volume 1. I haven't looked for volume 2 just yet. There's the king. There's our man and the queen, Jack and Roz. Yeah, or should I say Miss Big Barda? I'm sorry, the Dreamer, Beautiful Dreamer. That's who he made Dreamer. But this is really good. It's just Jack Kirby's creations, um, expounded upon by, let's see who we got in this book. Original concept by Jack Kirby, developed and written by Jack Kirby, Michael Thurbedeau, Steve Robinson, and Richard French. Art by Michael Thurbedeau, I can never pronounce his name. Carl Kessel, Scott Hanna with Jack Kirby and Mike Royer. So it's got good stuff in it. And I enjoyed it so far. I've read about halfway, and I've enjoyed it. Again, I want another better copy. I will gift this to some. Not that I'm gifting the just whatever, but some people don't mind when it's like this. So I will put on Instagram when I do have another copy. And first winner who comments first or say they want it, I'll send it to them. I'm not charging anybody anything for it, so that's always a plus. Another channel I want to mention, why I shift gears to comics, Bronze and Modern Gods. I've been on their channel before when they were in Baltimore year before last. We did a little interview. I showed them books, and they were set up live there, which was great. John and Richard have a great channel. They're another one that don't change for anybody. They do what they want to do and how they want to do it. It's very good. They both love comics for what they are. They specify no drama, and that's what it's about. They've been friends for decades, and they feed off one another, which is really good. And they really enjoy comics. They have a show and tell part, and they come on Mondays at 3 o'clock on YouTube. They have like a show and tell, hot book of the week, hot book of the week, underappreciated, not underappreciated, but I forgot what they call it, but a book that's heating up, um, underrated book of the week. What else do they have on there? Oh, letters. People who write into them will talk. They'll talk about that. So it's always fun. Another little gem I picked up. I think I showed this before, but I ran across it and I reread it and I thought it was really good. Is the Detectives, from Alpha Productions, celebrating 70 years of the American Private Eye. It's comics of, if you can tell on the cover, Maze Agency. We've got uh, Johnny Dynamite right here from Comics Media, and then on to Charlton, Mike Mauser, another Charlton, and it's just really cool. Um, Comic strips. Early Adam Hughes cover on this one. I'm not a big fan of Hughes. Some people are, but look, it's great. Joe Staton, Mike Mauser shot. I got a commission of Mike Mauser from Joe Staton. You got a nice Mike Mauser, Joe Staton story in this. Let's see who else we got. Look at that. It's really good. This came out in when did it come out? 1993. It's the Mike Mauser story, and you got a Maze Agency story. Mike Miss, Max Allen Collins, and Terry Beatty, which is big time into the hard boiled detective stuff. Miss Tree, of course, and there's a Johnny Dynamite, old reprint story of Johnny Dynamite. I've got one Johnny Dynamite comic book. They're hard to come by in nice shape. If I find them, they're either really pricey or beat the crap and still want a lot of money for them. He's a very cool, hard-boiled detective. Pete Marisi did the artwork on this character. I have a collection on the shelf over here somewhere of the Johnny Dynamite complete Johnny Dynamite comics that came out from Comic Media in Charlton. Charlton got the, I guess, the fallout from Comics Media. Picked up nice Peter Cannon Thunderbolts, number 53, which is very cool. I got, speaking of Pete Morisi, here we go. I got Peter Cannon on my wall somewhere. I don't know if you can see him. Right above my big old head. Right above my head. Right there is a Peter Cannon by Joe Chen. You know, you can't see his head. There we go. There's Peter Cannon. Nice one. Right here. 56. Peter Cannon Thunderbolt. More Charlton goodness. A little brownie here at the bottom, but it's okay until I can find a nicer copy. But, you know, you get to a point when you collect, you know, it's like it's never enough. And I'm getting to a point in my life. I'm going to be 59. Not a midlife crisis or anything like that. No. Well, it's past midlife. Midlife is 35. The idea, okay, I've got this. I've read it. It's great. I love it. Why do I need to get a better copy? All right. Something happens to me tomorrow, let's just say. Where's this all going to go? What all does it really matter? I know as a collector, we collect. And it's fun. But again, I've got a copy. Why do I need a better copy? It doesn't fall apart. It reads well. It looks good. It gets to a point that I am culling the collection as we speak. I've got about 10 long boxes I'm getting rid of. Mostly modern stuff within the last 20 years. No special issues or anything like that. Like the Spectres, I'm keeping my Spectres, my Martian Manhunters, my James Robinson Starman, and Sandman Mystery Theater. But most everything else is going. My boss at the shop is going to take them off my hands, give me a decent price, because I'm never going to take the time to try and sell them or take the time to try and differentiate what's what. It'll just take more time than what it's worth. I just want to get them out. They've taken up a couple, much to my wife's dismay. It's taking up 2 of the guest rooms right now. Well, actually, 1 guest room, and partially as I'm doing this, and it's moving in one I'm keeping into another guest room, taking what I'm going to get rid of. I'm keeping it in 1 guest room. It's going to be going to the shop and getting rid of this stuff. You know, there's so much stuff that I can't reach out to friends, say, hey, I got this, I got that. What do you guys want? What do you guys need? It's all going to be good. It's all going to be gone. So I'm calling things because I'm not, and as I'm going through it, I'm going through books that I can't remember the storyline on. But this, I always remember because I've read them to death because they're so good. And other things that I've shown you. I remember them. I cherish them, and I like going back to revisit those characters and those stories. The stuff I'm getting rid of, I'm never going to revisit them. I have no desire to. And I hope I'm here and I'm 80, 90, you know, and I've still got my pulps, and I got my books, and I got my figures, I got my toys, I got my comic books, I've got my paperbacks, I got Doc Savage is alive and well, and it's easy access to the stuff that I want to keep and enjoy. So that kind of struck me when I sat there and said to myself, why would I want another copy? I mean, if I'm at a show and I'm like, oh, this is better than what I've got, and it's relatively cheap, I'll get it. I'm not saying that, but I'm not going to seek it out because I have it and I enjoy it, you know. So if that makes sense, I don't know if it does. I could be rambling. I don't know. I'm 59 almost, so maybe I am rambling. Who knows? My Only Love from Charlton, number 1. Keep away from me, Ed. You've had your chance, and now I don't want to. I don't want you near me. What did Ed do? I've not read this yet, so I couldn't tell you. But I love Ed's hair. That's the kind of hair I had when I was in grade school and high school. Kind of long, thick. Now look at it. Well, you can't look at it because there's nothing there. We got Flaming Carrot. A little bit of Flaming Carrot action. Yes. We've got number 18. You gotta love Flaming Carrot. Alright, you see her up in the tree? The dialogue. I don't know who that character's name is. I can't remember. Yep, that's Uncle Billy's new mail order bride. Up in a tree. Please, darling, please come down. And she's up there hissing. And then we got everybody hanging out down at the bottom. Just an everyday occurrence in the world of the Flaming Carrot. Number 19. Would you believe these were only $3 a piece? If you read Flaming Carrot, you get it. And you have certain sensibilities that that it's funny. They appreciate the superheroes, but at the same time kind of make fun of it. So you're in that middle ground with Flaming Carrot. If you've seen Mystery Men, it's kind of that flavor because those characters came from Flaming Carrot. It's kind of the same idea, but it's just some strange, surreal stuff. And it's great. It's great. All right, you got the dialogue here. Why do you smoke those stupid giant cigars from the novelty store, Flaming Carrot? It looks idiotic. Those things are no good. Yeah, Carrot. They stink up the whole neighborhood. The Carrot's response, aw, everybody's down on me today. Don't we just feel like that sometimes? Good old Flaming Carrot. And another book that I never thought I would find. I did a trade and cash for these next few books. 1, 2, 3, 4 books. I did a trade and some cash for these. No, it was a straight trade. Danger and Adventure number 23. Gotta love that cover. The only one I have is 25. The last Golden appearance of Ibis is on it. It's a collection I want to get all of them. Not that many. Speaking of trying to complete collections, I'm pretty good on my record squads right now. Here's number 9. I got the first issue, the last issue, a spattering in between, and the Steve Ditko explosion cover, which is the hardest one, the most expensive one to get. I was able to get a copy a few years ago, and I've showed it here. Racket Squad in action. This is where you got people with the Bunko Squad, people on the lam, and the Two-Fisted Fix. Gotta love these Charlton. Look at that. Racket Squad in action. Oh, good stuff. This is another one I want to complete. I've got the most expensive one. I want the one. My shop has it for $165. It's the one first appearance of Spurs Jackson. This isn't it, but it's Space Western number 44, 43. But there's only like 4 issues of this, of Space Western. It's 4 or 5. It was continued. I can't remember what it was continued from. This is a dynamic cover. It's beautiful. It looks like it's brand new. Strange Suspense Stories. What number is this? I don't know what number it is. The Strange Visions of Candor. Look at that. Isn't that beautiful? Look at those colors. Rom even says, I like it. Look at that. Yeah, this is a nice addition to the Charlton collection. Got Judo Master. I don't know what number. I didn't write it on the back. Sorry, folks. Judo Master 92, right up in the corner there. versus the Smiling Skull. An extra bonus: authentic judo instructions. Wow, I learned judo from the judo master in every issue of Charlton Comics. How'd you become a judo master? I read it in Charlton. Hear the train, folks? Of course, I had to come by when I'm doing my video. Primus #1 finally found a copy. Not that it's rare or scarce, I'm not saying that, but it took me a long time because who's going to bring Primus comic book to a convention? Somebody did, and I found it. Primus Ivan Tor production. It was a TV show which I've never seen. I think YouTube may have the beginning of it, the intro, but I don't think there's not any shows on YouTube. I did have Joe Staten, who did the artwork. I did have a commission, pretty large commission of, yes, Primus. I did pay for a commission of Primus. This is a cool book. It's underwater adventure. He's after drug smugglers or kidnappers or stuff like that. It's always based around the water. It's a good comic book. I enjoy it. It didn't last very, very long. This is a scarce comic, I know for a fact. Funny Animals #1 from 1984. Any 75-cent Charlton is a low print run. They were closing up shop. The lights are about to go off. They went closed up in '85. Again, Charlton putting this out when there's superheroes on the stands. That was primarily everyone's focus. Why they would put this out when I know they had other reprint material that had much more excitement to it. I mean, not that there's anything wrong with Funny Animal, but you're competing against a bunch of superhero titles. Why they did this, and I know they had unused inventory of adventure strips that they could have used as well. However, let's just reprint some Funny Animal, Alfago, here at the bottom. I believe he was dead by this time. There's just a weird thing. Charlton was just that's why I like it. Oddball, strange, peculiar, question marks, exclamation points. Why do they do what they do? I don't know. But this is a pretty nice copy. I think this was the only issue, I believe. I don't know for sure. It's hard. Charlton, again, I mentioned before on my channel, they're so hard to keep track of print runs and numbers, and comics start and stopped, and they picked up from other titles. They would put a title out just to have inventory, just to publish it, and then wouldn't continue with it. I could be wrong on Funny Animals. Let me see. And this is why everyone should have the price guide. If you collect comic books for any reason, you should have a price guide, particularly older comics, because they'll let you know certain things that eBay, because a lot of people just want to price their books and sell them. Who cares about the history or anything like that? Here it gives you information that you can't get anywhere else. There were two. Atomic Mouse, low print run, all reprints. Again, $6 in the guide. You know, try to find that copy, that grade. I think I paid $3 or $4 for it. It's hard to find. It took me forever. I knew it existed. I'm not going to break the bank or spend hours and days and weeks to find that book, but when I come across it, I'm like, yes, I like this book. I want to have it in the collection. We got U.S. Air Force. Bill sent this to me. I don't know if I put it on the channel or not. Because Bill put a note in it right here at the bottom. I don't think I showed this yet. But anyway, it's such a great cover. He's trying to get away in his jet. He's holding down, suppressing fire when they're trying to come and get him. She's gassed up, Lieutenant, ready to go. Look out. He's protecting the plane to take off. I do not know what number this is. I don't remember if I read this one or not. See, I'm getting 59. I can't remember if I read comic books or not. Beautiful copy, though. Man, Charles Atlas on the back. Good old Charlie Atlas. Sam Glassman, man. Another one, number 9 from 1960. Look at that, man. Sam Glassman. Another underrated, underappreciated talent. If you ever read the USS Stevens, I've got a hardback of the whole run. You're missing out. Look at that page. Look at the book. Look at that panel with the silhouette of the guy. Such great stuff. And he served in combat on the USS Stevens during World War II. Who else do we have in here? Doesn't look like I recognize anybody else in this. But still pretty good stuff. Number 9, 1960, April. This was kind of pricey for me. Um, I shouldn't say pricey for me, but I didn't think paying $22 for a Marvel team up. You know, it's got John Byrne artwork. John Byrne's first art on the X-Men is in this Marvel team up 53. I never remember buying this, but Wood God is why I bought this book. I can't remember if I showed these or not, but our man Wood God is the reason I bought this. He's in this. But it's a good book. I like Wood God, and he's gonna pop up here shortly. I think in some Hulks. Yeah, I was a big fan of the Shroud. Thought he's a great character. I like his origin and like his appearance. I like how he looks, his style, his design. And I got these Spider Woman comic books that I missed. It's 14. Colton Roberts with the Shroud. First appeared in Supervillain Team Up number 5, I believe. Shroud again. I love this cover. I'm not a big fan of Spider Woman, but I'll pick up books. I've got characters crossover again. Big fan of the B and C list characters, and because it's like you don't. I've said it before on here. You don't see a lot of them, so it's great when you do. It's like you say you have a nice steak. Get a little bit of pepper, a little bit of salt, nice medium rare. You love it. Too much salt, too much pepper, cook too much, you ruin it. If you eat too much of something, it takes away the flavor, takes away why you like that particular character. I like seeing things just pop up, here and there, and just like really cool to see them. And it's not on the lips of everyone. It's not on everyone's tongue where they're jacking the issue up. Perfect example would be what I don't like, and it's not him, but it's his daughter, is Bloodstone. Big fan of Ulysses Bloodstone. But all of a sudden, his daughter, a few years ago, her comic books are like $100. Who cares? Let's talk about Bloodstone. I'm glad I can get Rampaging Hulk for $10 and have some great you know, Bloodstone's comic book in the back, or Marvel Presents that was at number 1 and 2, where he made his first appearance, I'm fine with that. And then when they did the Marvel Universe, Mike Manley did the artwork. Bloodstone was leading a group of adventurers fighting the giant Kirby and Ditko and Dick Ayers monsters, which was great. Marvel Universe was another fun book from the 90s. Speaking of Wood God, hearing all his action in 252 Hulk. Thank you, Micah, Graphic Man, for turning me on to these issues. I'm not a big Hulk reader. Did not know these existed. And there is, right there, there's our buddy Wood God. Wood God is in this, but he's not on the cover, unfortunately. But he's in this book. Hulk 253, which is a nice shape. Look how white that cover is. Beautiful stuff. More Charlton here. We've got My Little Margie's Fashion, which is great. I love the Dick Tracy thing right here, which she doesn't appear in the Dick Tracy outfit. But the outfits I never realized are by real people. This lovely dress is by Marita Shockley. Her whole address is there, 1707 West Shady Grove, Irving, Texas. So that outfit was by her. Margie's Cute Sportswear by Karen Bueno, 290 Beach Road, Great Falls, Kentucky. Or Great Falls, New York. So, ladies, if you're watching the video and you're hopefully you're at home in the retirement village where you're at, you can look upon your creations in this issue of My Little Margie's Fashions. My Little Margie on this one as well, and they did the same thing here. Her Divine Outfit by what was that? Elizabeth Pino. Oh, I can't get it in there. Anyway, you know they got the address on there, which is kind of funny. These are cool books to read, kind of for that reason. Charlton, as much as they don't get the respect that they got, they did a lot of neat little things like that. Um, you know, as a company, they were weird. I get it, but it's still fun. It's a great story. The creation of Charlton and what they did and how they operated, and the idea that here's this little comic company that's going against, not at the time because you had a lot of companies, but coming out of the late 50s or early 60s, going against some big two. Marvel was coming around in 61, early 60s. DC was already got its footprint, and Charlton's doing what it wants to do. How they want to do. They did things in-house, art, printing, publishing, distribution, all from in-house. So that's something that's a good story. So anyway, that's about it. Not too much else going on. Other than, speaking of Jim Calafiore, if you're in Ashburn or Winchester, Virginia, there's 2 comic shops. You're going to have to look on Jim's Instagram to get what comic shops he's going to. I'll have my phone. Gosh darn it. 2 comic shops. One's in Ashburn. One's in Winchester. Jim's going to make an appearance there the 7th and 8th of December, which is right around the corner. Going to have art, books, doing free sketches, free head sketches, that kind of stuff. Come by, say hi. Hopefully he has Ned Lord of the Pit. You can get a copy. Great book. He has 2 volumes out now. It's good stuff. That's around the corner. I work Saturday at the shop, but I'm going to be there Sunday in Ashburn to say hi to Jim and hopefully purchase a couple of his morning warm-up sketches, because he does sell them. They're on paper about this big, and they're really cool to have. So yeah, that's happening. So I'm looking forward to that. Nothing else happening other than getting these comic books together and calling the collection. Like I said, nothing else is happening. Again, read your comics, enjoy what we have. These 4-color treasures, they're going to outlive us, man. And we appreciate them, let people know about them. So when we're long gone, there'll be people clamoring for our collection, right? Anyway, take care. Have a good one. And I will probably come back on after the meeting with Jim at the shop. At the shop he's going to be at. I can't remember the name of it. Go to Jim's Instagram, and they're raffling a Batman black and white drawing of his that he did for a charity raffle, and that's the image of the post. Click on that, and he'll tell you all about all the details, or as a hipster say, the deets, and you'll find out what's going on. So you guys take care. Please leave a comment, suggestions, anything. If you want to talk about something, throw it out there. I'm up for anything, you know. And it's one of those things that we reach out to our fellow collectors and discuss things that make this part of the bigger picture and help us enjoy our collections, help us enjoy what we do, and helps validate things. All right, take care, guys.